So here we have the sample slicer from Ginko Synthese. I'm going to use a music loop that's pre-prepared with some drums and some keyboards, some Rhodes sounds, and I'm going to come straight out of the sample slicer. I'm going to plug a clock in that's moving at quarter notes, and I'm going to take a sound directly from my sound card into an input module that's then going into the audio in. Clicking those switches, we can hear the sample. This is a 4-bar loop, it's just playing around. Now, either with a trigger at the trigger input or with a button, I can sample this into 16 slices on the inbuilt memory in the sample slicer. So let's hit sample, get rid of our input, and we'll listen to this sample playback. Now I'm going to get rid of the input, flick this into loop. First thing you may notice is we've just got a single sample repeating, a single slice, and the pitch is down. Let's put the pitch back to 0. And that pitch has got that lovely 12-bit quality to it. We can hear it's just got a little bit of a raw, not quite gritty, but sort of nice character to it. We have a clock divider based on this incoming clock. So we can get that going faster by dividing down the clock. We can scan through the start point for the sample. Put pitch back to normal. And the play length. Let's set 4 steps. Down. Suitably gritty and full of that sort of 12-bit sampling character that some of you might recognise. Taking this out of loop and into one-shot mode, we can use a random gate, completely out of time, unsynced, to trigger one playback of this sample. And it plays back whatever we have set. Let's turn the rate of this random gate up. You can see the random gate on this LED cable. Move the start point. Play 2 slices back. Leaving this in loop mode, taking out the gate. We can use CV for things like the start position, the length, the pitch. And scattering these audio samples works great for further processing. So I'm going to take my output to the low pass on the Manhattan analog filter right next to it. Patch the output of the sample slicer into the filter. And let's use some random modulation, just like what we've got moving the start position into the filter's cutoff. Finally, we'll take this out into some effects. And come from the filter, again low pass out into my effects. Turning down the effects and opening up the filter, I'm going to take the random modulation out of the sample slicer, start from point 1 and play all 16 slices. Now if we move the clock to something faster, this original clock has stayed the same throughout, the samples will start to play back faster as well. So this is a quarter note, and you can hear a quarter note within that music loop playing per slice. Let's take that to eighth notes. You can hear that's now double time. We can go faster, dividing the clock. You can go faster still by going from 8th notes to 16th notes. Just in play lem. Really like that pitch all the way down for something a bit more gritty and characterful. You can see by setting the play length to odd numbers, we could layer this back over a 4/4 beat and start to get some polyrhythmic patterns. Again, let's add some filter in. Really quick, really instant, and really fun as well. Let's use some different audio inputs and play around with some different sounds. Nowhere did Ginko Syntheses mention that this is actually meant to slice CV, but as it is modular, and often CV and audio are quite interchangeable, let's try it and we'll see what happens. So I have a detuned saw wave into a bandpass filter. On this blue cable, I've got the output of the sample slicer going to the CV input on the filter. I have an envelope on this LED cable, which is going to show us our modulation. We can see that currently pulsing away. Let's hit sample. I'm going to play around with the envelope, create some different speeds, different LFOs, different shapes, and we'll see if we can then get that CV to modulate the filter from the sample storage on the sample slicer. Okay, let's remove the input. You can certainly hear that it's got some sort of signal from it. It might not be an accurate representation of the CV, but this could still be quite fun. Let's play around with the play length. You can hear this sort of clicks on each clock pulse. That could be great if it's clocked in time, or that might not work for your particular patch. For me, I think that's part of the charm and the fun of it. It's not a high quality solution. It's 12-bit, lower audio quality, gritty, characterful, fun, live sampling. As this is clocked, we can divide down that clock for faster playback. So whether it's meant for it, or whether you like that clicking, you can use this for CV. Let's see what the pitch does to the CV. Seems to have slowed it down ever so slightly. Let's add some random CV and get this play length and start point moving around. Set the clock up to audio rate. And let's take a random gate and put this in one-shot mode. So it's currently doing nothing. Here's a random gate. Let's swap that for an LED cable so you can see when this is actually active. You can see that fires off a single sample of this CV. Let's go for longer pattern. So this makes for a great CV sample mangler as well. If you can deal with those clicks and slight inaccuracies in the recording, you can also treat this like a CV recorder and slicer. Okay, so as we've seen the sample slicer close up, I thought I'd zoom out and show a little bit more of the patch. Unfortunately, across the system I can't quite fit everything in. We've got the SSF ultra random analog in the bottom right of the screen. This is sending 3 sample and hold CVs on these blue and purple cables up to rings by Mutable Instruments. I've got some of the random from the ultra random analog patched back on itself to affect its clock rate, and the clock is plucking a sound on rings. I'm currently coming out of the ZDSP, but if we just turn the input up with it dry, we can hear a more random and West Coast approach to synthesis. So you're familiar with this sound. Let's turn up the mix. All of this that you're hearing, bar that the random modulation is going to be different, is going to go to the input of the sample slicer. I'm going to come out of the sample slicer with the input from the ZDSP, which is the final module in the chain, and straight away I'm going to hit sample. I can lose the input. This can go up to loop. I'm going to patch some random voltages to modulate the sample slicer's playback, including the start position and the length. As the input's still there, with a random gate coming from the ultra random analog in the corner, I'm going to re-trigger the recording of these samples. This LED cable will go red when the random gate is high, and this will re-trigger the recording of the 16 slices on the sample slicer. So turn up the speed of the random gate. You can see that's triggered the recording and re-triggered, so we need to slow this random gate down now. And this is going to give us new information. the input more wet, and I'm just going to manually trigger the recording. Speed this up. Set this to 1 shot and use a gate to trigger the sample playback. You can see that random gate pulsing away, replaying these samples. Let's get rid of the modulation. So in this more West Coast context, we can create random modulation, random changes in a patch, and then create even further random variation, triggering the recording, the start position, the length of playback. We could also control the pitch as well. When this is clocked and in time, it can also be extremely musical, as we've shown in the first example, cutting up beat repeat style effects in time, and we can divide that time down between whatever our clock is, and then half, third, quarter and eighth divisions of that clock. The pitch being low starts to create this really nice gritty character in the sound that starts to show that 12-bit sound, which may be familiar if you're used to some of those older samplers. And you can also, with some clicks and glitches, record CV as well, which is great for creating this sort of mangled CV. It can be incredibly musical, as I've said, or incredibly random and more chaotic in nature. It's really fun and really quick. I highly recommend checking out the module.